These are my shelves. These are all the books I have. I'm getting rid of them. I decided to film this not on my computer, and instead you're on a tripod on a ring light across the room. So I can't like turn this off. I'm just going to try to do this as quickly as possible. There's no room for feelings here. There's no room for second guessing, except there might be if I go through the stack and I'm like, actually I want to keep that. But for the most part, what you see, everything the light touches can go. It's fair game. Because these are my red shelves. These are books that I have read already. This section is the only section that's not going anywhere because these are my hotters and my Pantones. So I've stuck all my candles and all my like knick-knack things that are still on the shelves in that section. Can't touch it. Everything else I'm going to mess with. So we're going to see how this goes. And maybe I'll be able to actually get rid of some stuff. I don't know. Just for shits and giggles, try to guess how many books are in this stack. This is everything I'm getting rid of. Just go ahead and try to guess how many books this is. Because it's a lot more than I thought it was going to be. Okay, so I'm going to go through these as quickly as possible. I already know the total. I've counted them. And I've put them in different groups. So I have things I have multiple copies of. I have my YA section. I have my adult kind of blah section. And I have the books that I don't recommend anybody read or get from me. So let's go real quick through the YAs. This is So Yesterday by Scott Westerfield. Don't remember it. This is a series called Drama Club. I read them in middle school. One of them is about Godspell and the other is about Greece. That's all I know. Ferris, it's Gail Carson Levine. I actually kept Two Princesses of Bamar. I like that one. I just don't really care about that one very much. If I Stay, it's just too depressing. I don't want it. A Little Something Different. I don't remember anything about it. Sea Witch, which I just bought, but it wasn't really like good. I'm never going to reread it. Like, I love that it's a nice, pretty hardback, but like, I'm never going to reread that book. As You Wish, which is problematic. The Locket, which I don't remember. Matched, which is a series I started in high school when that big dystopian thing was like huge and the bubble had just started. And I read like Delirium. And I love that book, but like I started this one, I'm like, that doesn't hit the same spot. So I'm getting rid of it. I'm never going to read that series. Memoirs of a Teenage Insomniac. I feel like this one's probably problematic too. Girl loses her memory. I feel like there's some questionable stuff that happens. Not That Kind of Girl. Don't remember that either. I was really into those weird, like, one-off YAs when I was in college. Anyway, and Dusklands, Blood Red Road. I don't think I didn't like this book. I think I liked it. But I don't remember anything about it. And it's a series, and I just don't have time for that. So I'm not going to read it. The last book that's technically in the YA section is this huge book that is actually the Summer I Turned Pretty series by Jenny Han. I'm never going to read it again. I did not like it. I don't remember much about it except that I didn't like it. It was disappointing to me. That was one of those ones where I think the first one was good and I liked it. But that was all I needed. The whole point is like the girl Belly and it has the crush on both the brothers and like it's just back and forth between each book. And I just don't need that drama. I don't care. The next section are more adult books, but they're also just like, When in Doubt, I don't remember anything about this. Though Waters Roar is a Christian fiction book, which doesn't necessarily make it bad, but this one is particularly bad. It does not do it for me. I don't recommend it. It pissed me off. Some of the character choices did not feel right. Dear Mr Knightley is the same thing. It's a Christian fiction novel. It's like an Austen retelling, but I can't remember which one it is. I feel like it tries to be Pride and Prejudice, but it fails. It might also be Emma. I don't remember. It's been a while since I read it, but I don't remember being wowed by it. And the last one is Kissing Brendan Callahan, which came from Dollar Tree. I don't remember this one being bad, but I also don't remember a lot about it, and it's really small. Someone might like it, but I'm just never going to reread it. This next section is what I like to call duplicates. I just have multiple copies of these books. The Robber Bride by Margaret Atwood. I love Atwood, but I have a really nice hardcover of this. I don't need it. The next ones are from the same series. I think it's called the Mammoth Hunters series, even though the first book is called The Clan of the Cave Bear. But it's the Mammoth Hunters and Valley of the Horses that are both part of that series. I just have duplicates. I don't need copies of that. I have multiple copies of Shakespeare's Macbeth, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. So I don't need those copies. And then I have Dr. Faustus, Guy de Maupassant, and Emily Dickinson. I just have multiple copies of these things. Now, the Shakespeare, Frankenstein, Faustus, all those things will probably go into my school library. Like, I'll probably put those aside and take them with me when I get a teaching job and put them in the classroom. But, like, the other ones, they can go. And to finish this off, I have, like, 3 copies of Firestarter by Stephen King I don't need. Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey. I have a box set of the whole trilogy. I don't need this one book. Black Beauty by Anna Sewell. I have this book already. It's in the Pantone collection. And Scary Stories 3, I have the whole treasury in one book, so I don't need the one book. But those are just things that I have multiples of. Now we come to my favorite part, the books that I'm getting rid of because they suck. This is Ice. It is the poor man's version of East by Edith Patel. It's not by Edith Patel. This is a terrible book. It involves a pregnancy, but it's basically the same concept as East. It's just terrible. We have Illyria by Elizabeth Hand, and if you've seen my best and worst list for 2019, you know that I have strong feelings about this book. That's a retelling of Twelfth Night in name only. Ishmael, I think, is about a talking gorilla, but I don't know. I had to buy this for my biology class I took in 2010, and we never even read it. So that pisses me off a little bit. Belong to Me is supposed to be a collection of short stories about horses, but there's just a lot of sex and violence and terrible things, and horses happen to be mentioned. I think in one, it's literally about a couple that's getting a divorce, and the only thing that ties it into horses is that the daughter wants a horse for her birthday. I think that's it. And that's not going to fly with me, so we're getting rid of that. I usually like Billy Letts. Where the Heart is really good. Made in the USA sucks. It's the most convoluted plot. It's stupid, and I don't want it here anymore. Same thing with Fred Mustard Stewart. I usually like his books. This one is about a man who befriends a woman whose child is dying of like cancer or leukemia or something. It's really short. I read it in a day. It was awful. The Methuselah enzyme is about terrible people doing terrible things. I'm getting rid of it. The Misadventures of Justin Hearnfield. I haven't read this in years, but it also came from Dollar Tree. I read it really quick. I think at the time I liked it. But now that I'm looking back on it, it's one of those pretentious books that's about like an academic white male who, oh, do I have my virginity? Did I sleep with this woman? I'll never be able to ask her because you can't just ask that kind of stuff. So he spends the whole book focused on what he has and has not stuck his dick in. And I just do not care. I do not care where you have put your dick, sir. The last 2 books are Christopher Pike's The Visitor, which is not good. I don't know if it wants to be about aliens or Egyptians or what it's about, but it's really bad. So one of his series I've read is called Remember Me. The first book is really good. The second book is kind of weird. The third book is awful. It does that in this one, but it's that small. So just imagine how bad it is. And the last book is the worst book I've probably ever read. That's the only reason I've kept it. Is that way when people ask me, hey, what's the worst book you've ever read? I can pull this one off the shelf. And it's Dream When You're Feeling Blue by Elizabeth Berg. This is a really terrible book. I got it from Walmart because it's a historical fiction novel about World War II. And I tend to like those, weirdly. But this one was just really bad. It reads like a textbook. It's like, oh yeah, we had a victory garden and we used our rations and this. And it's like, okay, yeah, we know those things happen, but like, what's the plot? And the entire point, and I'm going to spoil it because that's the main part that pissed me off, is the ending. This one sister, it's about like 3 sisters, I think. It's been a while since I read it, but I remember this part because it pissed me off. This sister had a boyfriend who was in the war. He came home for leave. She got pregnant. He went back to war. He died. The other sister has like found a guy and is her fiance. And instead of letting her sister go through life having like a baby without a daddy, she basically just like gives her fiance to her sister. And that's not happening. That's not cool. I love my sister, but she would not be getting my fiance just because she got pregnant. Like, that's just not okay. So that's how this decides to end. And it ends that way. It really does. It ends with like a flash forward into the future where those sisters are old and her and the guy have another kind of little moment together. And it's like, what could have been? It's like, yeah, because you were a dumbass. Just, oh my God, why? Anyway, I'm ranting. I'm getting rid of that book, so it doesn't matter. But those were all the books I decided to get rid of. This is all the books I decided to get rid of. And if you didn't already guess how many it was, you should go ahead and guess now, just to see how close you are after hearing everything. You got it? It was 41. It's 41 books. I'm so excited that I get to get these out of my house. So the next step will be getting rid of my TBR shelf, like some of the books on there that I'm never going to read. But this makes me feel a lot better having these gone.